right, our next speaker is Mamata Akella. Mamata Akella has been a professional web cartographer for over a decade, building maps and cartographic technology for, among others, GIS, Behemoth, Esri, the National Park Service, Carto, Stamen, Facebook, and now Felt. She loves pushing the limits of cartography on the web and working on cross-functional teams to build cartographic thinking into products used both by technical and non-technical users. Mamata's talk today demonstrates the dramatic evolution of cartography from traditional paper maps to interactive online platforms. This talk focuses on the fusion of cartography and the digital realm, highlighting Felt, an emerging technology, as a key player in revolutionizing online mapmaking. Mamata's talk is, the presentation dives into the key features of Felt that empower individuals to create dynamic maps and data visualizations, transcending the boundaries of traditional cartography, and explores how Felt is reshaping the landscape of online map creation, bridging the gap between technology and creativity to bring maps to life in innovative and engaging ways for anyone. On a personal note, we've been using felt.com quite a bit here in the collection because of its ease of use and the absolute seamless way you can integrate the materials from davidrumsey.com into your own cartographic creations. Mamata's talk is titled Felt, Pioneering a New Era in Online Cartography. Please join me in welcoming my dear friend, Mamata Akella.
Hi, thank you so much. We're just gonna get set up really quick here. Okay, hello, thank you so much. Thank you, Stace. I'm so honored to be here. Always get nervous when I'm gonna talk, so sorry about that. I'm also just have really enjoyed the past couple of days, getting to know everybody and listening to your work. And I hope that what I'm going to show you today is like Stace just said, something that's helpful, something that gets you excited, and something that you'd want to try out. I'm going to go a little bit quickly through slides because really what I want to do is get into the product and kind of show you what we're doing and how it can be used. Let me move a couple things here. Okay, so Felt is a modern map making tool. A lot of times, whether you've never made a map or you've made plenty of maps, mapping can be quite intimidating if you don't know what all the data formats are, if you don't know how to use a specific tool, if you don't know how to even get started, it makes it so you can't make a map. So we're actually losing a lot of stories that many people want to tell, but just don't have a medium to do so with. And as I just always love to highlight the awesome people I work with. So this is most of us. A few of us are not here on this image. And I'd like to highlight my CEO, Sam, who is kind of our fearless leader and pioneering this new way of thinking of maps on the internet. Okay, so today, again, just very quickly through these slides, I want to kind of talk a little bit about how you could use a set of drawing tools, whether you have data or not, to create, to tell rich spatial stories. And then if you do have data or you do have images or you do have anything that you want to add to the map, this option to upload anything. And when we say anything, we almost mean anything, and you don't have to worry about it. You can just drag and drop it on the map. Similar to all of the other intuitive design of the tool, we've also brought a lot of things like styling data, multi-scale cartography, all of these kinds of things that have been very hard to traditionally do unless you have formal training or know a tool very well. We've brought a lot of that to the forefront. And I have to play this video because one of the most awesome things about Felt is that you can now collaborate with people on maps. And so I had some of my teammates. I think this is one of the hardest things to demo in a demo. But what you'll see here is I have about 6 of my colleagues on the same map, and we can see each other's presence. We can do things at the same time and kind of really work on a map together. And this is really kind of new, innovative, and very creative, something I've never experienced, but that we are familiar with modern tools like Google Sheets, Figma, Google Docs, Notion. This idea of collaborating with teammates on the web is not new, but it is new in this mapping context. It's okay. And also, another way of collaboration that is also a little bit complicated to show is just this idea of commenting and having a team that's working together on a map. I'll do my best to show that with 2 of me today. Okay, so before we dive in, I just wanted to, first of all, thank you so much for putting the maps up. It's really amazing to kind of see everybody's maps and the maps that they chose in such a renowned and amazing place. And so I wanted to just kind of share a little bit about some of the maps that I've made in Felt. Um, so this is one of the first maps I made. I think, like, being a web cartographer all these years, it's always data, data, data. It's always massaging data for cartographic display. It's understanding how to use a tool to get what you want versus just being able to place some emojis and, try things out in a different way that traditionally had been very hard. So and at this time, we didn't really have that many tools. You could add pins, you could add text, you could do things like that. And then, just kind of doing cute things like adding a little fact in there. So this is a map that, is just for fun, but one that a lot of people kind of gravitated to in, wow, that's pretty cool that you could make something like this on the map. And yesterday, a lot of people were talking about like the creative and cartographic process. And again, when you're using a tool and technology to constantly build maps, you lose some of this ability to just like hand place things and have fun and try out different ideas. Um, this map that is one that is hanging up there, it might seem kind of funny, but it's a really actually cool and another map that I made before we even had any data or anything. So basically, we just had drawing tools and some of the more basic things that are more advanced today. So in here, what I'm doing is, using the emojis again. This is a map of the San Diego Zoo, and I just wanted to highlight some of the endangered and animals that are there. And they also have these really cute cams that are on. Well, this orangutans have a live cam, but this is just like a YouTube video embedded in a map. So all of a sudden, you can kind of just explore the zoo, see these cute little things about the animals there, while also giving it this fun hand drawn aesthetic. I'll go through the rest of these kind of more quickly. So this is, again, just a map that has a few data layers, land, graticules, these routes that were taken from Tomas Serrano. It's a source that's out there. And really what I did with this map is just kind of tell this story. Everybody says, oh, Magellan's so great. But I wanted to kind of tell the story of what this crew did and how it kind of went and the different places that they visited, but not like in a PG way, but also kind of explaining what this really was. Um, I've used things in here like images, so you can just drag and drop images on here. I made a title. I hand drew this compass rose by just tracing over an inspiration. So again, just like a very different kind of web map um, in felt. This is just a reference map of South America. Once we started supporting adding in raster layers, then could use some great techniques that many cartographers do, like combining something like blue marble NASA imagery with a shaded relief that Tom Patterson has scanned and georeferenced many of these. So, just kind of combining these two things to make a beautiful map. This is another one I have up there. And for me, this first was very cool. This is from NASA Worldview. I wanted to just kind of see what was going on with the Canadian wildfires. So to be able to pick up a marker and kind of identify some areas quickly to annotate, you can start finding the stories in here really quickly. And again, all of these just are hand added on here. So you can kind of see where things are happening, the fires, the smoke, etc. And it's so quick to do this. And it's traditionally been very hard for me. Of course, we talked a lot about water yesterday. So you can do the typical thematic cartography visualization. This is a beautiful data source from hydro rivers, and I'm just symbolizing them each line by its Strahler order, and so you get a very beautiful visual representation of this data. Can take that further with doing many creative things in felt. All of these actually came from the same map, but by using kind of two worlds that exist between drawings and elements and data, you can make pretty cool maps. We recently started supporting raster data and styling raster data. So this is a map of some data that I saw that I've wanted to make for a really long time, coming out of CU Boulder, that basically shows how the country built up, how urban areas built up over time. And again, doing this, just even adding in raster and styling it, and then being able to have some of this creative take on it, where I could add a title or I could come up with a creative legend, is also something in the web that's been a little bit hard. Okay, and I will just go a little bit more quickly. Will not explain every map we're seeing. Um, and yeah, so now with raster data and styling, it's just really cool what you can do, how you can kind of mix vector and raster together. And I will just show very quickly that also you can bring in digital elevation models and make a hillshade just within one click. And you can even add a tint to it, whether one of these or a custom one. There's just like a lot of these new capabilities to be able to combine raster, vector, everything. Okay, so I want to get into my demo, and I have a feeling that I'm going to go through this a little bit fast. So the last piece of my slide deck here is just that there's a lot of resources, and please visit these to get more insight. I'm also here for the rest of the day, so feel free to grab me if there's anything that you'd like to talk about. Okay, so first I want to start here. Well, I zoomed in too far, but I want to start here in Ghana, and maybe you might be asking why. I don't know if everybody did this, but I did. I went and used a text search to see if I could find my name. Who did this? Yeah. And I was really actually surprised that, wow, my name is on a map somewhere in Ghana. And this is just really awesome. I did my niece's name, I did my sister's name, I did my brother in law's name. So we were having fun just looking at this. And what you can do just with any of the Rumsey collection is use this XYZ link that is provided if you're not downloading the GeoTIFF itself. And you can copy that URL and just paste it into Felt, and we will place that for you. Okay, so the next place I want to start is at Stanford. So as I showed you earlier, my coworkers and I did a little bit of work on this map. And really what I wanted us to do is make a map for the conference. So what you'll see here is that there's a lot of drawings and arrows, buildings. There's some of these paths and things like that. So I just want to show you a couple of things that you can do, again, without even having any data in Felt. So I'm just going to search for my, where most of us are staying and zoom out. So there we go. I want to put what the walking path is between the Sheraton and we'll just go to the shuttle stop. So here, one of the tools, the tool that I just used when I searched is pin. And so that just dropped a pin. I can choose a symbol, icon, or emoji. So if I found like a hotel, I can put that there. I can add more details to it, attributes, everything. But we're just going to use it kind of as a reference point. There's different types of routing. And what's really cool about this is it kind of sticks to paths that are for walking. And even though this feels like a pen that you might be drawing on a map with, it's actually a really smart tool in that it is following the topological network underneath that is a road. So if I was trying to drive through Stanford Arboretum, it would not let me, because that's actually not a way I could, or I guess I can drive through it if I go on that road, but not along the walking path. So you can also do things like at the distance, you know, change the color to whatever, too dark, to whatever, too light, too dark, whatever, to whatever you want, add a name, etc. So I've also want to show you some cool stuff. Like a lot of times when we're making maps, we're using information for reference. So here I've just literally, again, if you just, this is why we say it's familiar. I can rotate, I can command X, I can command V to put it back. So really like the copy paste, cut, all of those things are relevant for both images and elements. And even as you're working on your map, if you make a mistake, you're like, oh no, I don't want that color on my data. You could hit Control Z and you will go back. So let's find the conference website. And so one of the things I wanted to do is add the schedule in there. So I'm just gonna copy and paste this URL, go over here and press Control V, and there we go. Like right away we just have, so that's kind of what I did with the YouTube videos too. So you can kind of really create a rich experience. Here we're also supposed to add bike lanes, which we don't have. So we have a data library with many curated layers. So one of those is bicycle lanes, and these are global bicycle lanes from OpenStreetMap. And we have a lot of different global data sets, either sourced from OpenStreetMap or other well-known sources, the census, USGS, that kind of thing. And it's just really a way to get started building a map. And so there we have the bike lanes. And now all of these, I know this map is not designed, we're all cartographers probably cringing, but what I want to do is actually get a couple more buildings. So I can use this tool clip. I can just select more buildings and add them to my map. And now I want to select all of the buildings. So I'm going to highlight one. And again, just like familiar things, right click, see what you can do. And I'm going to convert this to a layer. And now what that is doing, oops, I meant to select all of the buildings. So let me just select all of them. I'm going to right click on one of them and say actions, select all of the same type. I actually don't want that park there. So I just hit shift and unselect. And now it's kind of selected all of the polygons, and I can convert those to a layer. So everything you're doing in felt is data. Even any of these hand-drawn arrows, any of that I can export. I can create a layer, or I also have the option to export anything to a GeoJSON that I can then use in another tool. Okay. So this, and then I also wanted to show one neat thing. A lot of times again, we're going through tabs and we're trying to look at things. Another cool thing you can do in Chrome only right now, but with data is you can use, so here I kind of got some of the Stanford colors. You can just take this little color picker here and pick a color from an image that you might have, and that easily gets transferred over to the data. So you could imagine a map with many categories that has a standard way of being symbolized. Instead of copying every single hex value somewhere and pasting it in here, you can even just take a screenshot and apply your symbology that way. Okay, and I'm not showing you sharing, but I can show that afterwards if anybody would like to see. But what I do want to show is commenting. So if I can add collaborators to this map. So I'm gonna invite my coworker, Rachel, and I can choose her if she's the editor or just a viewer. I'm going to put her in editor and invite her, and I'm going to ask her to Rachel, can you please finish styling and adding the walking paths? And what will happen is she will get an email, and then she can reply to me. And you can start having these conversations on a map. Okay. Oh, geez. Okay. So I totally overestimated. So I just want to, I had this whole thing that I wanted to look at with the earthquake of 1906, but I won't do that right now. I will just kind of show you how I was able to bring in some GIS data to see where the impact of the earthquake was. And really what I wanted to do was see which buildings within this burned area were still standing that were either built in or before 1906. So just very quickly, I had brought in a few different historic maps from the collection using that XYZ URL. And a lot of people too, you probably use QGIS. So we're seeing a big pattern in this use. So one of the things that we have is a felt plugin. And so what you can do once you've done any data preparation, or if you have projects in QGIS, is you can literally add your layers to a new map or any map that you might be working on. And you could also do that from the right click menu. And instead of exporting and save features as, you can share a specific layer directly to Felt 2. So I will just turn these on. One last thing is that we always have like data in spreadsheets. So a lot of the talks we're seeing yesterday are going around collecting information. I just want to also encourage you to, again, with the upload anything, is to just feel free to get a link to a spreadsheet, paste it in there. It says it has data, and let us figure out how to draw it on the map. Thank you.